As we welcome you back to Minute Maid Park in Houston, Carlos Martinez 10-7 against Doug Fister, who is 11-7. The Cardinals have had success against this tall right-hander. He's made 3 starts against the Cardinals. In each of those starts, he's given up a pair of home runs. And that includes earlier this season at Busch Stadium. Matt Adams and Brandon Moss both took him deep. He's given up 19 hits in 3 starts, 11 runs, 6 long balls in those 3 starts against the Birds. It's day baseball, the Cardinals and the Astros coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Live. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Congratulations to Jose Altuve with hit number 1,000 last night. In a 3-hit night and a loss for Houston. And along with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. The roof is closed, 73 degrees here inside Minute Maid Park. There is Doug Fister. He is a quick worker, strike thrower, 11-7, ERA of 3.61. And he'll get the call coming off a win his last time out against Minnesota. Colton Wong will lead it off. He's 4 for 17 as a leadoff hitter this year. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. It's Wong, Piscotty, Carpenter, then Moss, Molina, Jerko, Grichuk, Hazelbaker, and Garcia. A lot of lefties in this lineup to face Doug Fister.
Well, you mentioned he's a strike thrower. He'll pound the fastball. Got the good curveball. He's an 11-game winner for the Astros. Signed a 1-year free agent contract to play for Houston.
And Wong fists it out to shallow left. This ball may drop, and it will. It's a base hit for Wong. A blue base hit off the bat of Colton Wong. And we take a look at the defense as we go around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Tony Kemp gets the start in left. Teoscar Hernandez was in left last night. He's in center today. George Springer in right field. Bregman, Correa, Altuve, Gonzalez along the infield, and Castro is behind the plate. Here's Stephen Piscotty, just 4 hits on the road trip, but 2 of the 4 have been home runs. And that pitch taken high.
Piscotty's been in a little bit of a funk, and go back to the last road trip and homestand, but because of the home runs, it's kind of kept him afloat a little bit, and he does make adjustments.
That's ripped and foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pfister is out of Merced, California. Stephen Piscotty from Northern California. I mentioned all the lefties in this lineup. Right-handers hitting just .206 against Doug Pfister. Lefties .288. He's given up 17 home runs, and 13 of those from the left side of the plate. Tails back in for a strike, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Speaking of home runs, the Cardinals with 47 long balls since the All-Star break. First in the National League. Second only to Boston with 2 more at 49.
And it seems like to get one, they'll get a multi-home run game. Jam shot right there and on his fist.
They've had 47 multi-home run games. Looking this up last night after the Game 1 win. Most in the National League, most for the club since 2006. So it's been a long time since we've seen power like this. Breaking ball taken in the dirt.
One thing is the home runs are great, but it just seems like we station to station, you're not really manufacturing runs, and you hate to think you're dependent on the home run.
Kia in the driver's seat. His multi-home run games 47 here in 2016. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out. Runner at first. Pitch number 10 of the inning. Hit the other way and foul ball. Big gap in left center field. Cardinals with the home runs last night, but also a lot of strikeouts. They struck out 15 times, but they scored 8 runs. First time they had done that since May of 1996, ironically enough, against Houston. Two-two pitch to Piscotty.
Well, he's gotten inside a couple times into Piscotty, but Pfister doesn't get a lot of swing and misses. He will continue to pound the strike zone.
Earlier this season at Busch Stadium, pitched into the 8th inning. Gave up only 5 hits, couple of runs. He's been with Washington and Detroit. There's a breaking ball. He gets away with it, hung it as it's tapped foul.
Really slowed down his motion, didn't he?
Hyundai pitch arsenal: fastball, curve, slider, and change. This will be pitch number 9 of the at bat. Piscotty hits it up the middle, could be 2. Correa flips to Altuve. Wow, what a double play! That's as good as you'll see. The flip out of the glove, the bare hand, and the turn by Altuve, and it's a double play.
Dazzling play, and these fans love it because this double play combination will be around a long, long time. You see the ball going up the middle, the little flip, and Altuve. You know, you can do that now with the rules at second base, you know, where you can't go in hard because you could just wipe him out. But Altuve could stay on the bag there and just reach, get the bare hand, and just spin his body and throw over to first.
Here's Carpenter, and the first pitch is fouled back. Correa and Altuve. Correa, #1 overall pick back in 2012, and Altuve, make a case he is the game's best all-around player right now.
A lot of people believe that he will win the American League MVP. Probably pick up his 2nd batting championship. It's leading all the major leagues in hits this year.
Here's the 0-2. Check swing, and he went. Strikeout of Carpenter, who is the designated hitter here this afternoon. Leadoff hit by Wong, erased on a terrific double play turned by Altuve. George Springer leads it off in his lineup with 23 home runs. Then Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Marwin Gonzalez, A.J. Reed, Jason Castro, Teoscar Hernandez, and Tony Kemp will bat ninth. Carlos Martinez, start number 23, looking to become an 11-game winner here today.
Danny's really pitched well on the road throughout his career. 16-7 with a ERA under 3 on the road. This is the first time the Astros have ever seen tsunami.
Trying to really get back on track too. It's been a year of runs, good and bad, for Carlos Martinez, and right now he's in a little bit of a funk. Took a no decision Thursday at Wrigley. It was Randall Grichuk that bailed him out with a pinch hit home run to tie it up, took him off the hook, and the Cardinals eventually lost that game in extra innings. Ground ball that's hit to third. Jed Jerko off balance and makes the play. How good has Jed Jerko been no matter where he plays in this lineup? And today it is at third base. In the outfield, Hazelbaker in left, Grichuk in center, Piscotty is in right. There's Jed. Ray Garcia at short, Colt Wong at second, Moss is at first, and Molina behind the plate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about Jerko, and I think that we knew that he could hit some home runs, but defensively I think he's been a real nice surprise.
Alex Bregman, the number 2 overall pick a year ago out of LSU. Picked up his first major league home run last night, opposite field shot. And with Dansby Swanson being brought up to the big leagues today, it's the quickest the number 1 and number 2 picks have made it to the big leagues since 1994. That was A-Rod and Darren Dreifert. And a strikeout of Bregman and a high call. It's Bill Miller, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes.
You watch Carlos, he knew it was a strike. He started turning his back right away. But it was a high breaking ball that called the strike there. See how he fares against Altuve, who 3 hits last night, reached 1,000, the fastest in franchise history by more than 100 games, and second fastest of any active player.
Altuve did it in game number 786. Ichiro, the active player that did it faster than he did, at 696. 26 years old, 102 days, 1,000 hits, at a younger age than all of just 8 30 members of the 3,000 hit club. Pretty incredible. It buckled the knees of Altuve. And to put that in context, he reached 1,000 hits in 45 fewer games than Pete Rose.
And Dan, think about this. He leads the major league in hits at 170, batting average 365, on base percentage 429, and just ranks second in total bases at 267.
Hits it out of play.
Oh yeah, he could turn the double play.
And the question is, how does he get to all those numbers? And they talk about, you know, many people mention his size. He's not a big guy, but plate coverage, he can go the other way. Hits by direction. Sprays the ball everywhere. He's got a little pop. 19 home runs this year. 2-2. Slider struck him out, and Martinez looks sharp here in the bottom of the first with a couple of Ks. No score after 1. Houston, Moss, Molina, and Jerko. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, when it comes to Mike Matheny's next man up approach, Jed Jerko has been the man. He had a 3-run homer last night. Since the All-Star break, Jed has 11 home runs. He told me there's no big reason for his recent success. He said, sure, getting more at-bats helps, but he's just seeing the ball better lately. He said, quote, sometimes a pitcher throws it right down the middle and you can't hit it. Right now, I'm hitting those pitches. And Dan, Mike Matheny described Jerko's power surge this way. When he gets going, he's amazing. But he says Jed's also been a stabilizing force for the Cardinal defense.
Well, right now he is 3rd on the team in home runs in limited playing time, especially in the first half of the season, as Moss fouls it back. Been fun to watch.
Well, it really has. You think about Jerko and Moss. They have supplied so much power. Both of them are hitting extremely well right now in their current hitting streaks. Moss 375 with 3 home runs in his 6-game hitting streak. Jerko 5-game hitting streak.
Lifted in the air out to center field. Hernandez makes the catch. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in high definition on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here's Yadier Molina. Leads all catchers in doubles. And you go back to July 18th. His average is close to 400. 3rd best in the National League at 375. 5th best overall in Major League Baseball. So that's just about the last month or so.
Remember the doubles. He hit a double in 8 straight games, and that tied a modern major league record, tying Derek Lee back in 2007 with doubles in 8 consecutive games. He's got 25 on the year.
2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, and nobody on. Pfister is a big guy, tall, 6'8".
And it looks like, you know, Miller following Tony Randazzo's strike zone, that they're elevated a little bit.
1 out walk, and it brings in Jerko.
That's one thing about Pfister, is only had 1.77 walks. Yesterday, Jerko.
18th home run in the 6th inning, 3rd in the past 4 games. 11th home run since the All-Star break. Only Brian Dozier of the Twins has more with 12. Tallest pitcher, by the way, in Astros history, Randy Johnson, who was here for a short time, and man, was he good. Dominated the National League. And here are those home runs since the break. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. J.R. Richard was also 6'8". What might have been with J.R. Richard. Flamethrower. Second pick in 1969. Twice led the league in strikeouts. Then he suffered a stroke in 1980. Never was the same. He did that before a game playing catch. Really a sad story.
You know, Dan, J.R. Richard, you say a flamethrower, but you know, this is the big leagues. They could catch up to that, but what made him so good was his slider. Just a nasty, nasty slider to go with that high-octane fastball. And as you said, 6'8", a big presence out there on the mound.
2-2. Taken high. This has been the only infielder for the Cardinals that's been available from day one. Everybody else has suffered an injury or been sent down. A strikeout of Jerko, number 2 this afternoon for Pfister.
Pfister, like you said, his 2nd strikeout already. Look at the movement on that pitch. Usually a good sinking fastball. Doesn't strike out a bunch, but he usually doesn't walk any. And those things have changed a little bit. 2 walks, or 2 strikeouts and a walk already. How about Richard last night, and his speed put on a performance for the home crowd.
And a double and a triple last night. Returned Thursday from AAA. He has 6 hits in that time frame. All 6 have gone for extra bases.
5-game hitting streak with a 6 for 17, 2 home runs.
In on his hands, fouled back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boy, it's so odd to see a pitcher pound right-handers inside. A lot of pitchers today don't pitch to hitters' weaknesses. And there's not too many that like the ball in on their hands, up above their hands.
Why do you think that is? We just don't see a lot of guys pitch inside.
Well, I think it's just to the point where it sort of started where umpires, trying to avoid confrontations, you know, have been very cautious of the ball inside, or having and they're going to work in on Rich here.
And they jammed him. Popped up. Foul territory. Gonzalez leaning into the crowd and makes the catch. Cardinals strand a runner. Midway through 2, no score. historic Beatles concert at Busch Stadium, too. Tuesday, August 23rd, Beatles Tribute Night at the ballpark, and you can purchase a special theme ticket, get an exclusive Beatles at Busch Stadium t-shirt. Tickets now at cardinals.com/theme. Those theme nights have been extremely popular throughout the season at Busch Stadium.
Paul McCartney concert was a big success.
Were you there?
No.
You missed it, huh?
I was doing something very important. So important I can't remember what it was.
Catching up on The Bachelor.
Bachelor in Paradise right now, big boy.
You are all over it. Here is Carlos Correa. #1 pick in the 2012 draft. Honor roll graduate of the Puerto Rico Baseball Academy in high school. He's the highest pick ever from Puerto Rico.
And you remember when he was selected #1 overall by Houston, the Cardinals were in town, and Beltran and Molina both called him to congratulate him.
1-2 pitch. That pitch was in. Ground ball hit to second. Wong puts it away for the out. 4 up and 4 down.
And we were really kind of talking during the break that it's so rare when guys get pitched inside. They've got a false sense of security. And a lot of guys don't know how to get out of the way of that inside pitch because it happens so rarely. That ball kind of running in on him, jams him. You talk to anybody that played in the 50s, 60s, even the 70s, and you ask them, how would you like to go to the plate knowing that you never be pitched inside? You know, even if nobody's really intentionally trying to go in there, and they just, their eyes light up and say, you know, I can still hit at 50 years of age, 60 years of age. But it's obvious the players are bigger, stronger, more athletic.
.2-0 pitch to Gonzalez, who homered here last night, 3-0.
Because so many pitchers concentrate on pitching away, you get a lot of guys diving in, and you could just jam people just because they're moving in or moving towards the outer part of the plate.
1-out walk, first base runner for Houston, and it brings in A.J. Reed. You really do get a look at the future of Houston in this game. Bregman, Altuve, Correa, and A.J. Reed, considered their #2 prospect in their system. Last year at 2 different levels in the minor leagues, hit .340 with 34 home runs. It's been a rotation of players at first base and at the DH spot for Houston. Remember the name Jonathan Singleton?
Yeah.
They thought that he was the first baseman of the future. He signed a 5-year, $10 million deal, and he's toiling right now in the minor leagues.
I'll just think about Chris Carter, now plays for Milwaukee. He was not tendered a contract, clearing space for A.J. Reed. And he was the minor league player of the year last year. Led all minor leagues in home runs. See, he's a big, big man, tremendous power, but got out to a real slow start here at the big league level.
No balls, 2 strikes. On the inside corner and struck him out. 3rd strikeout for Carlos Martinez. Pitching in. Like to see this.
I really do too. And you can see how effective, especially when that ball starts in and comes back to the middle of the plate. And then you think about the high octane that he can throw.
The catcher Jason Castro hitting .213, 8 home runs. He has driven in 25. A shift is on for him. Jed Jerko well off the line at 3rd. Two groundouts, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk to start the afternoon for Carlos Martinez.
And you really like the way his pace. I mean, he is little that, little this, really changing speeds.
First pitch hit out of play. "13 earned runs over his last 3 starts. And this is what I'm talking about, in which he's had good and bad streaks, not just games, but streaks. That matches his total from his previous 10 starts.
And if you look at those little bursts, when he is good, he is really good.
Cardinals start play today, a game in front of Miami for the second wild card spot. Every game so important. Makes this fun.
It really does. And as you touched on a little bit last night, that with the second wild card, it really keeps your interest all the way through. If you just had the division winners before any wild card, I mean, a lot of cities would really lost interest by now. But with the wild card and then adding a second wild card, keeps so many teams still in contention.
St. Louis might be one of those cities.
Could be, and you know, Houston lost ground last night in their loss to St. Louis.
There's a good changeup from Martinez.
But the Astros got off to a very slow start this year. You know, they kind of surprised everybody. They had a 16-game increase from the year before. They weren't supposed to, you know, be a contender until maybe this year or next year. And yet they reached the playoffs last year, and then they found that it's very difficult to repeat. A lot of their players got off to really slow starts.
The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball struck him out. That's 4 in 2 innings and some nasty stuff here today from Carlos Martinez. Castro gave up on it. Whoop. Drops in for a strike. Here in Houston, Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. By your local Volkswagen dealer. And taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Hazelbaker, Garcia, and Wong for St. Louis. This date in baseball history, 1972, Steve Carlton with win number 20. You say, okay, 20-game winner. Not bad at all. Does it in the middle of August. Well, 1972, Steve Carlton won 27 games for a team that won a total of 59. Incredible. And the Phillies, you may recall, in that year, played only 156 games because there was a player strike that wiped out the first 6 games of the year. So more chances to win more games, and it's pretty much incredible.
You know, that was the year where you had a lot of young players that later on became, you know, a juggernaut team for the Phillies. But those young players felt like they were supermen the day that Carlton pitched, and they played out of their shoes behind him, and you could kind of see what they were going to materialize in about 3 or 4 years.
Hazelbaker with a base hit into left.
Lefty was outstanding. You know, they had it documented back then. You didn't have the attendance like they have now, but I think it was something like 15 to 20,000 more seats were sold the day he pitched than any other time.
Cardinals will be in Philly after the game tonight. Off day tomorrow. And first of 3 with the Phillies beginning on Friday to wrap up the road trip. We don't know about their starters yet, as they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. Hazelbaker with 5 steals this year. There has only been 3 stolen base attempts against Doug Fister this year. And you might think with a guy that's 6'8", he's slow to the plate. That's not necessarily the case. He also has a pretty good move. And Jason Castro behind the plate today.
Castro's had a lot of trouble throwing out runners, so you could see Fister paying a lot of attention. But you're absolutely right. Usually when you have somebody, and you don't even have to be as tall as Fister at 6'8". But when they start getting 6'4", 6'5", a lot of times they don't have the athleticism of a smaller pitcher, and they are slow to the plate.
And a strike to Garcia. 2 for 22 on this road trip.
He's played very good defensively, and that's why he's in the lineup every day. Castro, by the way, has only caught 6 of 36 would-be base stealers.
He's got that slide step to the plate. High strike to Garcia. Cardinals, even though that Greg has really been in a funk, they like his approach. They like what he's been doing. They do believe he's hit the ball hard, and they don't want to give up on him in terms of, you know, saying all of a sudden 0 for 4, 0 for 8. Now we're going to sit you. They want to keep him playing. They like his defense too.
And I kind of like the fact too where he is in a funk playing more, but you know, he has that ability to get on base. They put that shift on when they get to 2 strikes, and I would think down the future you're going to see him trying to bunt down the third base line or shoot that way. And they kind of give you that base hit, but you got to have the confidence to hit or bunt with 2 strikes.
See if they start the runner here. 3 balls, 2 strikes. There goes Hazelbaker. Slapped the other way and a base hit.
And you could just see the mindset of Garcia. He saw that shift. He saw that the left side of the infield was open for him. And you could kind of see his mannerisms where he wanted to take the ball there when he even took a couple pitches. But start the runner right here. And there's that real control. Let the ball get deep and kind of punch it towards left field. And nice going, Greg Garcia.
Colton Wong, a bloop base hit to left. That was just his 22nd at bat here in the month of August. Seen his playing time cut back with Garcia getting the majority of the starts at short, and Peralta back, so he's getting some starts at third, which then shifts Carpenter to second base.
Pinch hit last night and got a big hit to start a rally.
Runners at first and second, nobody out. No balls, 1 strike on Colton Wong. 0-2. That pitch only at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, really took a lot off it. Slowed his arm motion down there, and it looked like Wong tried to speed up his swing. Saw it, recognized it, but was a little too quick.
Room to the left side of the infield, and the 0-2 pitch. Leadoff hit by Hazelbaker. Ray Garcia followed that with a base hit. Upstairs to Wong to even it up at 2-2.
Jim Hayes will say, Wong has a little pop, but he really haven't seen the extra base hits that we were expecting from him this year.
High chopper hit to short. Correa, nice play on the short hop. Runners advance to second and third, and it brings in Stephen Piscotty.
Correa made that play look a lot easier than it was. Kind of charge aggressively if you lay back. With Wong's speed, it's going to be a base hit. Then you're at the mercy of the hop, so tries to come in and get a truer hop. Takes it right off the shoe tops. I'm surprised how big he is.
Really the new age of shortstops, those bigger guys with Jeter, A-Rod, Nomar Garciaparra. I guess you could say it started with Cal Ripken. Runners in scoring position. Piscotty, a .373 hitter.
I went to the Players' Choice Awards one year, and Reggie Jackson, who was as big as players, you know, he was one of the bigger players in his era, and he was presenting an award to A-Rod, and A-Rod was just towering over him.
Oh yeah.
It's where you really started seeing how big these players have gotten. It's incredible.
Reggie Jackson hit the first of his 583 home runs this date in history.
Not that for feeding that to you.
Just popped out of the top of my head. I saw it earlier. Mr. October. 1 ball, 1 strike on Piscotty. Bounced into a double play his first time up.
Pfister already 54 pitches.
Big gap in left center. Hitters count. Two and two.
Scotty in this little funk is still one of the best in the league, with runners in scoring position, tied for third.
2-2 pitch, ground ball left side, and it sneaks through. 2 runs will score. Stephen Piscotty makes it 2-0 Cardinals. A seeing eye base hit to left to score Hazelbaker and Garcia.
You're absolutely right. Perfectly placed between the third baseman and shortstop. Breckman, the third baseman, tried to come in and field it. Correa was playing behind him, and it just sneaks through. Not hit very hard. You see the third baseman misses it. Then Correa was kind of screened a little bit. He can't gobble it, and as soon as that ball not hit that hard, so that guaranteed that Garcia was going to come in and score from second base. He was hitting .373 with runners in scoring position before that base hit.
Here's Carpenter, struck out on a check swing. He's the DH today. Cardinals all-time in interleague play, their DH. Usually they have put up pretty good numbers combined. Began back in the late 1990s, and the DH for the Cardinals combined all these years, .306 average. .379 the on-base percentage.
And that's the best in the National League. You know, a National League club can find a DH on their roster. But the disadvantage is for American League clubs that have a true DH, then you either lose that potent bat or you put him in the field where he's not very good.
Many times it's a first baseman that hasn't played that spot all year defensively. Here's a 1-1. And Carpenter sends a fly ball high in the air out to left center. And the catch is made by Hernandez. Back to first, Piscotty. And there's 2 outs.
And you and I think, we're both on the same page. You know, 1, we don't like the DH. And 2, if you're going to have an interleague play, why not reverse it?
Yep.
Play real baseball, National League style baseball in the American League cities, and then use the DH in the National League cities. So you can see where the National League rules are so much better. It's a better game, you know, with the pitcher. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to see a guy strike out or do this, but the strategy involved is just so much more. And the decision making and really a fan's ability to second guess.
We were back at the team hotel yesterday and riding on an elevator with John Henry, and it's the owners' meetings in Houston. Now, the sport hasn't had a work stoppage since the strike of 1994-95. And there's talk about an approval with a partial ownership group of the Mariners, but also the CBA is coming up. And at the top of the list is the schedule. Do you cut it back? Do you keep it the same? Do you add a doubleheader potentially to give more off days? Talk of expanding rosters, and some of the talk that will creep into that will be the idea of the DH being used universally in the game of baseball.
I don't think it'll ever happen. And I hope it doesn't happen, but I think one good thing is if those are the biggest problems.
Base hit into right, just past Altuve.
We have no work stoppage again. And I think that's one thing too is Commissioner Manfred. He was heavily involved, and that was his area of expertise, was, you know, the negotiating committee. And so he has a very good relationship with the Players Association. And I think they can, you know, with so much money involved, a $9 billion plus industry, there's ways for everybody to cut the pie.
Make it work. Here's Yadier Molina. This will be pitch number 29 of the inning. Walked his first time up, fouls it back in a good cut.
Yeah, he had a good cut. Yadi was 0 for 5 last night, but he's hit .368 on this road trip.
Oh, 2.
Another pitch up and in.
Pitches by inning, 30 so far for Pfister here in the 3rd. Molina hitting .289 with runners in scoring position.
And there's the 67th pitch. You know, on June 14th, when Pfister went 7 1/3 innings, he threw only 87 pitches, and he's already at 67 here tonight.
And the 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They shade him to hit to the opposite field. 4 hits in the inning. The big hit, Stephen Piscotty, seeing eye base hit single to left, drives in 2. 2-2 pitch, spoiled by Molina.
Yadi has a .275 batting average with 2 strikes. That's 5th best in the National League. And You know he's tough to strike out, so he usually puts the ball in play.
Pulls it fair inside the third base line off the sidewall. Piscotty will score. Molina digging for second base. It's another double for the Cardinals catcher. 3-0 Cardinals here in the top of the third.
'38th RBI for Yachty, his 26th double. Piscotty with the big base hit. He comes around to score. There, just inside the third base bag. Kemp, the left fielder, was playing it for it down the corner, so he had to come in and get that ball off the sidewall.
Jed Jerko loves to swing at that first pitch. If it's close to the strike zone, he will. And Doug Fister has had all kinds of issues when the opposition coming into this game swings at the first pitch. They are hitting .469 against him.
And a lot of times you just go up there guessing fastball. And he's had some success. So
Jerko takes a strike.
He throws a slider, and well, we got a big strike zone, don't we?
Yes, we do. Oh, 1 pitch. Jerko hits it up the middle, and Fister runs it over to first base for the out. The Cardinals, though, pick up 3 runs. 2 off the bat of Steven Piscotty and a base hit, RBI by Molina. Bulls Family Foundation Celebrity Golf Classic held last week in St. Louis. A lot of celebrities there. It's a 30-minute special. Catch highlights from the event coming up. Presented by your Mid-America Chevy dealers. Pujols Foundation seeks to help those children and families who live with Down syndrome and to improve the lives of impoverished people in the Dominican Republic. Our score is 3-0. First pitch taken for a ball by Teoscar Hernandez, followed by Tony Kemp and George Springer. And the 1-0. Chopped to short. High bouncer. Garcia just in time. We'll take a look at that. Greg was really in between as to whether or not to come in or stay back on it.
Hustling down the line and a very close play. Hurry up and throw a pitch.
Yeah. No challenge by the Astros, so the out, and it brings in Tony Kemp. Let's turn to Al's Toyota, key to the game.
I just got a feeling that the way Martinez is looking out there, just follow him. You know, he's very much under control. You can see his mannerisms that he feels like he's got a good game going, being able to do what he wants to do, keep them off balance. Starting pitcher set the tone. Now he's got a 3-0 lead. So just follow the tone, and we know the bullpen very good last night.
Fly ball into center. Randall Grichuk under it for out number 2.
You get the feeling that Martinez just, not that he's toying with him, but he knows that he has got good stuff today. Feels very confident in what he's doing. He and Yachty really working well and communicating. I'm sure in his mind, Yachty puts down a suggestion, and it's the same pitch that Martinez is already thinking about, and then it's just confirmation that that's the right pitch.
Here's George Springer. Springer, when he was a kid, he was intimidated with the thought of public speaking. Felt like he was the only one that stuttered. So he does a yearly fundraiser and is the national spokesman for Camp Say. And it gives kids a chance to go to a camp with other kids that do stutter and provides a comfortable environment. They say he's been great in the community and love telling stories about the players that do positive things in the game of baseball. I'm not sure we promote our players enough.
Same thing like Martinez, very involved in the St. Louis community, particularly with the Hispanics, trying to help them out in many different ways. They're all good guys, and sometimes they want to do something, but they just don't know how to get involved. And some of them will have their foundations, and then it makes it a little easier.
3-2 pitch. Martinez grew up on the streets of the Dominican, literally shining shoes for any kind of change he could muster up for his family. He said he did not want kids to have to go through that. He's asking all fans to bring used baseball gloves or bats to Busch Stadium, and he'll deliver that to the Dominican. Taken there by Colton Wong, and Martinez is sharp through 3. We head to the 4th, 3-0 Cardinals. Cardinals, Randall Grichuk leads it off. Popped out to the first baseman Gonzalez in foul territory his first time up. Jim Hayes is with us. Jimmy, how about Randall Grichuk in his return to Houston?
Yeah, we mentioned that he grew up an Astros fan about 30 minutes away from the ballpark. He saw dozens of games here. Last night was the first time he ever played here. Almost hit me with that one, Danny. He told
Watch
me
yourself, Jim.
The feelings he was experiencing were hard to put into words. He had over 300 people here, and at one point they started a "Let's Go Randall" chant. Grichuk told me he never hears the crowd, but he heard that. And the Cards had that off day in Houston on Monday. Grichuk spent it with his family, but he didn't get a home-cooked meal as you might expect. Instead, Randall took them to his favorite Chinese restaurant. Dan, he loves the crispy Szechuan beef. Hashtag journalism.
I knew you would find out his favorite meal. I mean, that's what Jim does.
He said he'd go to this place. He said he'd go to this place sometimes for lunch and dinner. So he's back home. He takes his family there.
Wait a minute. You come to Houston, you grow up in this area, and you go have Chinese food?
They have so many eclectic places around here, Dan. That's surprising.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
Somehow when you know at some point food will be talked about by Mr. Hayes, who is a ferocious eater.
You know what I can't believe is we've come here and the press box has no fried chicken. I don't remember that at the Astrodome. We used to do games there. It was always fried chicken. Every game here, it could be 9 in the morning, there'd be fried chicken.
I inquired, and they say they ran out of the fried chicken that they served at the Astrodome 12 years ago.
Just keep running it out there.
It kept on tasting that way.
A strike
right.
to Hazelbaker.
And I had the same conversation with somebody today too. Where's the fried chicken?
1 ball, 1 strike on Jeremy Hazelbaker. Started the Cardinals rally back in the 3rd with a base hit to left. Garcia single to left, and then it was Piscotty with a base hit to left to score 2. And Molina a double inside the 3rd base line.
Love to see where the bottom part of the order can start rallies.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Hazelbaker sitting on 8 home runs. The Cardinals could wind up with 9, maybe even 10 players with 10 or more home runs this year.
You got Pam, who's at 9, Hazelbaker 8. Don't they already have 10? Or is it 9 of them?
That's hit back and foul. The 2000 Cardinals had 9 players with double-digit home runs. Here's some names from the past. Looking this up: Will Clark, J.D. Drew, Sean Dunston, Big Mac, Edmonds, Ray Langford, Craig Paquette, Renteria, and Tatis. Slapped foul. Three-2. Hazelbaker, high drive, deep right, make it 9 home runs on the year. 4-0 Cardinals. He's 2 for 2.
He was just 0 for 2 on the road trip, and he's making up the lost time here. No doubt about that one. His 9th home run, 22nd RBI. And he can give you that little shot in the arm. And remember, Pfister, the Cardinals have seen him in 3 previous starts, and they've hit double. They've hit 2 home runs in all of those the other 3 starts. So how many will they get today? There's 1.
Measured at 396 feet as Garcia looks at a strike.
There's with the arms extended out there, the eyes riveted at the point of contact, follow through. I've always thought this ballpark, even though you have the very short left field porch, it favors left-handed hitters because there's a jet stream that goes out into the power alley and right, and yet a pitch up and away, a left-handed hitter could just throw it up on the Crawford boxes.
Yeah, we talked to hitters when this ballpark first opened up. They said right-handers got in a bad habit of looking at the Crawford boxes and trying to yank everything.
Yeah, and that is the ultimate. You know, you hit the ball, it's going to go out. You only have to hit that well. But when you try to shoot for that fence right there. You're probably pulling off at pitches. You're pulling them foul.
1-2 pitch. 2-2. James Hoyt, a right-hander, getting loose in the pen now for Houston. They have 7 righties, 1 lefty, and that's Tony Sipp, the left-hander. 2-2 pitch.
Same thing for pitchers too, Dan. You come in this ballpark, if you worry about the short left field porch, you're going to serve up a bunch. Pitch your ball game that you would in any other stadium.
Popped up, and that'll find the seats out of play. I think of Jose Lima when you talk about a pitcher that was
first year,
intimidated, if you will, by this ballpark, and he gave up a ton of home runs.
And remember, and all he talked about was, I can't pitch there. I can't pitch there. It's too short a porch. If you're playing wearing a uniform, you better learn to pitch here.
The 2-2. Garcia hits it up the middle. Loved by Correa. 2 down. Greater coverage of Major League Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. With the win last night, the Cardinals a game in front of Miami in the wild card of the National League. Pittsburgh also just a game back, and New York now 3. We'll see the Mets coming up. Washington 8.5 game lead. Cubs 12.5, and the Dodgers just a half game lead over the Giants. A tough second half here for San Francisco.
It's an even year. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Wong with a bloop base hit and a shallow left, and is also grounded out to short. 1 for 2 on the afternoon. Three and 1. Wong on the 3-1 pitch, pops it up. It's playable. Third baseman Bregman in foul territory makes the catch. Cardinals pick up a home run. He just turned 29 on Sunday. This is home run number 9 in 2016 off the bat of Hazelbaker. A solo shot. A long bomb. 4-0 St. Louis. Will present 30,000 fans 16 and older with a collectible plaque honoring the Cardinals Hall of Famers. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Alex Bregman, last 10 games hitting .295 with 8 runs scored. He is the Astros' #1 prospect. Got off to a very slow start. Rated as the number 18 prospect overall in baseball. Home run shy of the cycle in the Futures game. Little bloop into shallow center, and the catch made by Randall Grichuk.
How about Martinez? Just almost like he's toying with him out there. Don't get too cute. And I thought a little bit he did that in his last start in Chicago.
Brings in Altuve. Struck out first time up. 170 hits now on the season for Altuve. The first pitch popped up. He came in with 13 more hits than any other player. On pace for 231. And today he's 0 for 2.
He's got the highest batting average in the major leagues, Altuve. When I said that in his last start, Martinez kind of got a little cutesy. All 3 runs came from 5 singles in the 6th inning. He was just cruising along, and then he couldn't stop it.
Fastball and a strike to Carlos Correa. Grounded out to second, first time up. Pitch count only at 45 thus far for Martinez. A chopper. Garcia has to be quick, and he is. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Carlos Martinez. Boy, does he look good here today, folks. 4-0 Cardinals. A 7-pitch inning. James Hoyt. He is the number 20 prospect overall for Houston. It's an interesting story that we'll talk about this inning. As Hoyt was the closer for the AAA Fresno Grizzlies, and now in the big leagues he'll face Stephen Piscotty. He's now 29. He was not drafted in 2011. He had a poor season at Centenary College of Louisiana. Looked like his baseball career was over. Worked as a deckhand on a sailboat in San Diego. Played for several independent league teams, then in the Mexican League, and the Braves took a flyer on him. In 2012, he signed for the whopping total of $500. He was traded over in the Evan Gattis deal. As Piscotty taps it foul, he has a base hit. Rounded into a double play, 1 for 2. So Hoyt in relief of Pfister, who lasted 4 innings, 7 hits, struck out 3, walked 1, and gave up 4 runs, all earned.
Hoyt, another big guy, 6'6", 229. He was 29 years of age at the start of the season.
Good pitch with the slider and struck him out. If you want a great deal on Cardinals tickets, fill up at Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more now until September 29th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66.
Carpenter was a big bonus baby compared to Hoyt. He got twice as much, right?
Twice as much. That'd be $1,000. 13th round pick. Love hearing stories like that of guys that just want to continue to play and have a passion for the game, and here they are in the big leagues.
And there's a lot of guys that could play in the major leagues and be successful, but just not given an opportunity. And then, of course, I saw some kids in the minor leagues when I was coming through that, you know, had young families and couldn't afford to stay in baseball because the salaries were so low, and they had 2 or 3 kids and
got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Carpenter. Check swing. Did not go. But a very nice note here from Justin Passmore of the Passmore family reunion, celebrating here in with the Cardinals here in Houston. They'll be in St. Louis, this note says, on Monday night to take in the 06 reunion. Edmonds, Eckstein, and Flores coming up Monday night, part of the speaker series. Ground ball that's hit to second. Get those tickets at cardinals.com/events. And then 2 days later, part of the speaker series will be a Wednesday afternoon with Stephen Piscotty, and the Passmores will be there.
I kind of was shocked when I saw Altuve signed for $15,000. Remember the story about him going to a trial camp in Venezuela, and they sent him home. They said, "You're too small, go." Came back the next day, they sent him home. Came back a third day, and they said, "Well, let's see what you got." And those scouts look pretty smart now.
Strike 1 on Brandon Moss, the Hyundai pitch arsenal. For James Hoyt, slider, fastball, and split finger. Say that slider's a very good pitch, and he throws it a lot, nearly 67% of the time. There's the fastball at 94.
Usually today, you know, you would look at his pedigree and say, well, he's probably a small kid. But at 6'6", that's what teams are looking for, the big, tall pitcher.
Strikeout in a 1-2-3 inning as Hoyt settles down this Cardinals offense. We head to the bottom of the 5th, 4-0 St. Louis. seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. One walk, and that has been it for Carlos Martinez. 5 ground ball outs, 4 strikeouts, and another ground ball out. Tricky hop there at the end for Wong as he makes the play. Well, this is something else, isn't it?
I don't think he's broken a sweat. I don't think he's thrown the pitch at 100% maximum effort today. This road ERA in the National League right there at 248. That was at the start of the contest.
There's a look at your BJC Healthcare difference maker. Lowest ERA on the road.
Pretty good selection of pitchers he's the top of there.
Pretty good company. A.J. Reed called out on strikes first time up, the 0-1. Now make it 0-2. That's the thing with Carlos. When you watch him sometimes, Al, and you see how he throws, and when it's not, let's say, max effort at 98 to 100, it's just free and easy. It just jumps out of his hand. 0-2 pitch. Struck him out. That's 5 today for Martinez. I'm not sure that Reed has swung the bat except for one time on a foul ball.
You're right, but both plate appearances for A.J. Reed. He's only 23. He's their future first baseman. Led the major leagues or minor leagues in home runs last year and was the minor league player of the year by Baseball America. He's taken 2 called strikes, strike 3.
Ground ball right side taken there by Moss. Flips to Martinez. He is allowed 1 walk through 5. This Area Food Bank. Area Food Bank provides millions of meals annually through a network of nearly 500 food pantries, soup kitchens, and shelters in the region, and can provide 4 meals with every dollar donated. Text FEED STL to 22222 to make a $10 donation to help feed local families, or go to stlfoodbank.org/donate for more info. Back-to-back 6-pitch innings for Carlos Martinez. And it'll be Yadier Molina, Jed Jerko, Randall Grichuk. A game in which Martinez does not have to hit either. Just go throw your 6 pitches and sit down.
And Martinez really done a nice job here. He's got 10 hits this year, and he had 11 coming in his career. He and Yadier worked very well today.
Molina on the first pitch is hit out of play. Are you surprised that the Astros haven't grinded through some more at bats in terms of maybe taking a pitch here or there?
Well, I think that's, part of the problem with young players. They're not going to think in those terms. They're just going up there and reacting, and the reaction hadn't been very good. But the art of pitching is keeping hitters, their timing, messed up, and he's got them off balance.
0-2 the count. Second inning of work for Hoyt. Tap foul. Molina with an RBI double and a walk today. He's now driven in 38 this season. Off day tomorrow on the air at 5:30 Friday night. Cardinals and Phillies. All three games will be on Fox Sports Midwest. Molina a little shook up after that foul ball.
He's deking him.
I like it. Broken bat and a ground ball slowly hit to Correa. Molina trots down the line, and there's the first out. So Hoyt has come in, retired the 4 that he's seen. 2 groundouts, 2 strikeouts.
Reminding you that this still is a reachable game for the Astros. Even though it looks so lopsided right now, wouldn't hurt the Cardinals to add on.
Jerko is struck out and grounded out. One thing you notice with Jed Jerko, his hands, soft hands in the field, quick hands at the plate.
There you saw that first pitch. He's swinging at a fastball, but Hoyt threw a slider.
Jerko along with Bregman, both playing third base in this game today, and both have been college shortstops. Top honor. They've taken that home.
Yeah.
Jerko at West Virginia and Bregman at LSU. And the 0-2. Morgan Ensberg, who was part of that great rivalry and a former third baseman in his own right with Houston, is coaching in the minor leagues, and he had huge praise for this young right-hander Hoyt. Said this guy may be our best in our system.
And they're, like you say, 29 years of age, getting his first taste of big league experience. I've always said, Dan, when you're in the minor leagues, you have to have somebody that likes you more than the guys that dislike you. You never know. You get a chance, and some people will run with it. Other people will get the label can't miss, and they miss.
Cliche but true too. You're always auditioning for everyone in the league.
No doubt. That's a good way to look at it. There, that slider kind of hung there a little bit, fouled off.
The Cardinals take a flyer to an extent with Jerko and the John Jay deal. Jay 68 games, 2 home runs, 23 RBIs, injured with the fractured forearm. And Jerko 87 games, 18 home runs, and he's driven in 40. It's been a good pickup. Three-two pitch to Jed Jerko. Pulled foul. A tough road trip, by the way, for Chris Maloney.
He skipped the rope there. Chicago, he got nailed, right?
Oh, yeah, hard.
He didn't show any signs of it hurting. He likes to be able to have it miss the body parts, though.
3-2. Taken high, so good at bat there by Jerko to fall behind 0-2 and draws a walk. What's on tap is presented by Budweiser. Still don't know the 3 starters of the Phillies because of their injuries. Cardinals were trying to figure that out up to the first pitch today. And Adam Wainwright, we know, will go in game 1. And coming off his shortest outing of the year, also matched the shortest outing of his career against the Cubs.
But you know, Adam, he'll figure something out and
finds a way.
Be a force to reckon with in Philadelphia.
A strike to Randal Grichuk. Popped out in foul territory and also struck out. Hernandez, Kemp, and Springer due up for the Astros, looking at the bottom of the 6th. You know, baseball, Al, is such a crazy game. You think about today, Dansby Swanson makes his major league debut. Shelby Miller pitching in the minor leagues. I mean, who would have thought of that?
You know, at Albert Pujols' golf tournament last Monday, I talked to Tony La Russa, who came in for it, and specifically asked about Shelby. And he told me that, you know, that he really started pitching better. His last start was a really good one. They were very encouraged.
That ball gets away with the slider, advancing Jerko to second base.
So far, it's all sliders that Grichuk has seen, and we understand that completely. They're ahead in the count. Here he overthrows the slider, and Castro deflects in the air, but allowed Jerko to get in scoring position. Also said that there was some, trying to remember, I think it was a missed little diagnosis, or they changed his medication or something, and they feel like that had some effect for it. But I said to Tony, I said, you know, it really looked like he was relieved to be sent down, and he totally agreed. But he said, you know, things had just submarined last year. Remember, last year he pitched very well for Atlanta, but he couldn't get any run support and lost a ton.
1-2 pitch. Taken low. Tony Sipp, lone left-hander, is throwing in the pen for Houston.
But it was good to hear that, you know, they have not lost anything in what they believe, that Shelby just going through a rough time, but he'll work on it, come back and be the pitcher they believe he can be.
The 2-2. But meanwhile, you make a trade like that, #1 overall pick, to get him, and now he's in the minor leagues. And I don't think for a second there's not pressure on Dave Stewart and Tony La Russa with that type of deal.
Sure. Well, you got to believe, even with first base open now, even a full count, he's probably still going to get a slider.
Hazelbaker is on deck. 3-2 pitch on its way. Fastball drilled into right center field. Jerko can walk home. Third extra base hit of this series for Grichuk. Racing into second base with an RBI double to make it 5-0 Cardinals.
He didn't get the slider, and that's why I thought they'd throw him the slider to first base open, because he can turn on a fastball. This one he went with the pitch up and away, and one hops the wall out in right center. So finally got the fastball he's looking for, and he turns on. Six-game hitting streak for Grichuk with that double.
Tony Sipp, the only lefty in the Astros pen, or Chevy called to the bullpen. RBI double for Grichuk. He's now driven in 42. It adds to the St. Louis lead. To right center, 1 for 3 with an RBI. He thought about going to third as he's showing off his speed in this series, and it's our Nissan drive of the game. Drives in Jed Jerko, wild pitch costing Hoyt, putting Jed in scoring position. 5-0 Cardinals. And now it's Hazelbanker, who's 2 for 2. 2 runs scored, a single and a home run. 1 out, runner at second. And the first pitch is a strike.
Sip has become a pretty reliable lefty. He's been in the Houston bullpen since 2014. Lefties are batting .215 against him. Righties just .220. And this is his 162nd game since 2014.
The 0-1 pitch. They will use him against lefties and righties. One of the reasons why they only carry 1 lefty in their pen. They can extend him out in innings. Chevy Foxtrax and a strike, and he's found a home, as you mentioned, here in Houston. Signed a 3-year, $18 million deal in the offseason.
Yeah, very healthy deal for a lefty reliever.
0-2. Hit on a play. Pitched at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Then transferred to Clemson, was a 45th round pick in 2004. In the minor leagues a number of seasons, was at Cleveland, Arizona, San Diego, and then got a big league job with Houston. Here's the 0-2. And he struck him out. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. And it brings in Garcia. Bring 1 for 2 with a base hit to left and a run scored. Strike 1. Story that's developing here in this game outside the 5-0 lead. The pitching of Carlos Martinez. He's allowed a walk, and that has been it. Here's the 0-1. One pitch to the Cardinals shortstop. 1-2.
Sip is 32 now. Start of the season.
And he waves at it and strikes out. So he gets back-to-back strikeouts. Cardinals strand a runner, but they pick up another run. Martinez back to work, bottom of the 6th when we come back. Martinez a walk, and that was back in the second inning against Marwin Gonzalez. We are in the sixth. Hernandez, Kemp, Springer for Houston. Grounded out to short first time up. There's strike one. Free and easy, smooth here today from Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell his mannerisms on the mound. He feels he's got it. And it's almost like he hasn't broken a sweat. Really haven't seen him really exert or throw anything with maximum effort. I almost get a feeling with some of these long innings where he sat there that his mind would almost say, hurry up and make some outs. I want to get back out there quickly.
2-1 pitch. That slider, we've seen that reaction a lot from these hitters. They give up on it, drops back in the zone.
Well, it's almost like he's been able to throw anything he wants. There's our plasma tire box tracks.
Ground ball and fair. The first hit for Houston. Just inside the third base line, and the first hit of the afternoon off the bat of Hernandez. Martinez looking back to Molina as if to say, hey, that ball's foul. It was fair, and the first hit for Houston.
Now you say you're going to end up with a one-hitter, but right over the bag, off that sidewall, so Hazelbaker has to come in and get it, but I would have said double all over it. Astros want to now break up the shutout.
Here's Tony Kemp flying out to center.
Kemp split time between Double-A and Triple-A this year. Hit 305 in the minor leagues.
Long look, the 1-0 pitch. That's hit out of play. So the only time he has had to work out of the stretch was with two hitters. It was a 1-out walk to Gonzalez back in the second. And then working from the stretch, he struck out Reed and Castro looking. To Garcia. One away. But with that, the runner stays put.
He couldn't advance on that, or Garcia would have thrown him out. The best bet was to try and screen Garcia, allow him to have that good look at the ground ball coming at him.
See that Greg Garcia now using the eye black. We talked about it last night, the LED lighting inside this ballpark. It is very bright, and the hitters say it's hard to pick up the baseball. Hit to second, Colton Wong, out number 2.
And it scoots over to third base, but 2 outs now.
So 9 ground ball outs for Martinez to go along with 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 1 hit.
3 balls hit in the air, 2 to center field, 1 to shortstop.
Alex Bregman 0 for 2. Saw the bullpen do a terrific job last night in relief of Jaime Garcia, who did pick up a win. And Alex Reyes has now faced 20 hitters in the big leagues, and he struck out 8 of those 20. Only 2 hits, no runs.
Just 1 walk, too. So talk about efficiency. It's right there, 63 pitches. 4th and 5th innings really help you out. You get those single-digit numbers, kind of propel you to go deep in a game.
Here's a 1-1. Big gap in left center field to the leadoff man, or rather the second place hitter, Bregman. Lines it into center field, and the Astros get on the board. It brings in Hernandez to make it 5-1.
7th RBI for Bregman. He had a multi-hit game, got his first home run, a 2-run home run last night. Picks up another RBI here and breaks up the shutout.
Mentioned in the previous at bat, 170 hits for Altuve, who's 0 for 2 today. 13 more than any other player. Next closest, Mookie Betts, who's had a tremendous season for the Red Sox.
19 home runs, 32 doubles for Altuve.
And Tardy on that fastball at 96.
He's got 4 triples also. So.
Kubota power stats here as we get a look at Altuve. OPS leaders, on base plus slugging.
There's a ball or something that's fallen down from the second deck out in left center. And Altuve's hitting .432 on the road. Well, these LEDs have been really a problem for him.
They might be.
I know.
I mean, he's hitting right around 300 here at this ballpark and around .430 on the road. Chops it to short. Garcia across the diamond, and he makes the play. 10 ground ball outs for Carlos Martinez. Bregman gets the Astros on the board. We head to the 7th. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. This is where the Cardinals have done a lot of their damage. 29 home runs, 7th inning or later this year, and that's the most in baseball. It's Wong, Piscotty, and Carpenter top of the lineup. And the 2nd inning of work for Tony Sipp, who came on with 1 out, 1 on back in the 6th. 3rd pitcher used by Houston today. The 0-1. Make it 0-2.
Houston's pitching staff has done a pretty good job this year. Their bullpen is ranked 2nd in the American League, and their pitching staff overall in ERA is 3rd in the American League.
After today, the Astros go back onto the road, Baltimore and Pittsburgh. These are the only 2 home games in a stretch of 16, and they only play 8 of 29 at home. So this is really a defining portion of their season as to whether or not they can win on the road.
Yeah, they had a 7-game road trip, and they have these 2 games, and then they go back on the road for another 7.
2-2. And Wong lifts a high fly ball out to deep right. Springer back and with room. Don't forget about our Bud Bash coming up. That's August 23rd against the Mets. That day, fans with a Bud Bash themed ticket get a limited edition Chris Carpenter bobblehead. And tickets are at cardinals.com/budbash. August 23rd. Here's Stephen Piscotty, who is 1 for 3. Got the scoring started for the Cardinals back in the 3rd. Well, next time that we come through Houston, Towles Hill will be no more. Make some renovations to the ballpark. The Towles Hill, that is the only ballpark that has a feature like that in all of baseball. There have been some great moments on that hill. Think about Jim Edmonds and this remarkable play. Wow.
Just looking over your shoulder, you're going up that 30% incline, and you see how he falls on his face, but gets back up, gets the ball back in quickly. Talked about it last night that Tal Smith was the president of the ball club, and it kind of was his little feature here, reminiscent of the hill that they had at Crosley Field in Cincinnati. There's not too many people like it, because they're going to do away with it.
Going to make that a party porch area. I was always really surprised that the Players Association gave approval to that. You know, I mean, you would just think that a player could get hurt running up the hill like that. Like a play like there with Edmonds, where your knee gets just stuck into that incline, or the pole that's out there is in play in front of the wall. Initially, when they opened up this ballpark, one of the biggest issues that they had was that at the base of the wall, and that's what that'll look like next year at Towles Hill, but at the base of the wall they had concrete, and it stuck out, and they had to change that immediately. There's the foul pole that is in play, or rather the pole, I should say, that's in play.
I thought the big objection would be the 436.
We've seen a couple out there that have cleared the 436 sign, but not many. It's a mighty poke to dead center. Someone hits one over 430 feet. Usually it's right-handed bat yanking it down the left field line, or conversely from the left side pulling it to the right side, but not to dead center field. Piscotty calling time.
Just talking about how big Old Forbes Field in Pittsburgh was, that they would just park the batting cage, turn it around, and park it in center field and leave it in play.
That's pulled, and a base hit for Piscotty. Thanking two, on his way to second, standing up with a double. A two-hit day for Stephen Piscotty.
Came in with just 4 hits, but 2 of them home runs on the road trip. So good to see him get a pair here. Got the, as you said, got the Cardinals on the scoreboard with a 2-run single back in the 3rd. Now he picks up a double. He's been so good with runners in scoring position. First hit, first base runner off a sip.
Carpenter is struck out, flied out, grounded out. 0 for 3 today. A shift is on here for Matt Carpenter. Mentioned that Piscotty will be featured a week from today in our speaker series, cardinals.com/events. That's a luncheon program that we'll put on, and Steven will be there. We had that with Matt Holliday earlier this season. Matt was great with the crowd, and you know Steven will be the same.
Carpenter in a little bit of a funk. He's just 4 for 25 on the trip.
Very unique individual, Stephen Piscotty. Well educated. Stanford University. Now plays guitar. Talk about his approach at the plate. That ball gets away. Could be a pass ball. Just boxed it.
Yeah, kind of. We're talking about Piscotty and Stanford graduate. And you see another Stanford product. Castro behind the plate, and you're right, he just boxed that one.
See, Steven was pointing at that baseball. He was trying to get an extra base out of it. 3-0 pitch. You know that Carpenter has the green light. And he draws a walk with the infield drawn in. So a double, now a walk, and it brings in Brandon Moss. This could be the last batter that Sip will face. Right-hander getting loose.
Moss extended his hitting streak to 7 games. 10 for 27 during those 6 games with 3 home runs.
1 for 3 today. Moss cranks one out to deep right. No doubt about it. Long home run off the bat of Brandon Moss, and a 3-run shot. Number 22 on the year.
And another multi-home run game for the Cardinals. Moss's 22nd home run, 54 RBIs now. I don't think his acquisition last year at the trade deadline has paid off this year. He's that much healthier. Had that surgically repaired hip before last season. Well, he's healthy now and driving the ball.
3-run homer, no doubt about it. That's it for Tony Sip. His day comes to a close, and that measured at 434 feet. It's now an 8-1 St. Louis lead here in the top of the 7th. Wow. So Chevy called to the pen. And he's up to 54 RBIs on the season. Michael Feliz, 35th appearance, 4th pitcher used by Houston today.
He's got 7 wins. He's 7-1. There's 7 victories coming out of the bullpen. For his last 32 games, he's posted a 7-1 record, 3.11 ERA. He allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, all singles, and a walk in a third of an inning on Sunday.
Brandon Moss now 4 home runs in his last 6 games. Remember, over the weekend he homered in 3 of the 4 games against the Cubs at Wrigley. RBIs in 9 out of his last 10 games. And Molina strokes a base hit into center field. And Yachty on base for the 3rd time. A walk, a double, and now a single.
See if he hits this off the end of the bat, and that's why it didn't carry.
Plaza Tire Service replay, and now it brings in Jed Jerko. Well, you have to give John Mozeliak a ton of credit. I mean, Brandon Moss was a guy that kind of flew under the radar. Not a lot of people were talking about him. But John, many times it's about the now, but also about next year. Zach Duke, a good example of that with the trade to bring him here to St. Louis. And this Moss deal, it has paid off in a huge way. John has he's just done a great job. That's all there is to it.
Well, and he talked about all offseason that he would have his power back. And he's got that and some more. Fourth season for Moss with 20+ home runs. How many is Jerko going to end up with?
Eight straight multi-home run games for the Cardinals. Remember, Hazelbaker homered earlier. 10 players with 9 or more home runs for the first time in franchise history.
That's where I was getting my 10, right? 9 instead of 10.
And that's waved at by Jerko, and he strikes out. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. You look up and down this lineup, every one of them has been on. Walk, hit, 1 through 9 has been on base. And a breaking ball taken for a strike by Grichuk, who doubled to right center.
His 3rd extra base hit of this series. 2 doubles and a triple.
Fastball taken outside. Thanks to Brandon Moss and that moonshot. He just helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
Seems like the Honda dealers have dipped into their pocket quite a few times this year.
Happy to do so.
Yeah.
Vivian Clark is 6 years old today, celebrating by watching some Cardinals baseball. That is the niece of Keith O'Brien, who works in our truck. Keith O'Brien, the top assistant to Keith Olbermann. Back to Phillies. High throw, but Grichuk retired. Inning highlighted by a 3-run blast off the bat of Brandon Moss. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Rays 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Statue of Sam Houston. 8-1 St. Louis in the bottom of the 7th.
And real important for Martinez to come out and really concentrate on those warm-up tosses after another long inning sitting on the bench.
Carlos Correa, first pitch taken for a ball. Rookie of the Year, first to do that in Astros history since Jeff Bagwell back in 1991.
He's got 82 RBIs, 79 while playing shortstop, and he'll set the, in his first full season in the big leagues, he'll set the record for the most RBIs by an Astros shortstop.
1-1 is hit to short. Garcia, high throw, and Moss is on the bag. Look at the first pitch strikes, 11 of 22, and yet only 70 pitches thrown today.
Had 5 strikeouts, just allowed the 2 hits, 1 walk, but he has been very efficient. Very few, counts that he's really behind it.
Marwin Gonzalez. I mentioned the name of Jeff Bagwell. He fell 16 votes shy of the Hall of Fame. He got 71.6% of the vote. And everybody that's received more than 68% has eventually gotten into the Hall of Fame. Tim Raines had 69.8%. And Biggio has the Yellow Star for his work in the community and a kids group here locally.
Had a nice conversation with Biggio yesterday. He was here along with Berkman.
Hit the bull.
Couple breaking balls that have gotten away from him this inning.
One ball and 2 strikes. And a strikeout of Marwin Gonzalez. That's 6. Your pitch count is at 73, Al. And normally you would never bring this up, but how long do you want to go with Carlos Martinez when you're getting late into a season? Off day tomorrow. You already had an off day a couple of days ago. Another one coming up on Monday. The point being is that you could really cut his afternoon, his day short if you wanted to. Lifted into left center. Grichuk won't get there. Gets it back into the infield quickly.
Oh, I think it's a very valid point, and I agree with you, Dan. I think at this stage of the season, remember, last year, late August, he started having some shoulder issues and closed him down into the first full year of closing in the rotation. You get an idea of Reed and his power. Hit this one right out the end of the bat, out there to left center. But I would think that this would be his last day of work, just to, you don't get paid for complete games anymore. Nobody really measures that. You go 7 innings, then you turn it over your bullpen. There's some guys down there that could use a little work. You got the off day. If you had Monday, you got the off day tomorrow. You got another off day next Monday. So, in my mind, it makes a lot of sense just to cut his day a little bit short. But he's pitched so well, get him through this inning.
0-2 the count on Castro. Been a big day for Brandon Moss. We're talking about his acquisition. This road trip alone, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. Remember, in 2 months with the Cardinals, he had a total of 4 home runs.
Yeah, and he hit 19 on the year, but just 4 after being acquired by St. Louis. And think about him too, with what his role in the clubhouse. He's very good with the younger players, very good, and with the ups and downs that he's had in his career, he can talk to any player, and he's experienced the highs and lows of the game and help young players get through those.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Castro. Swung on and missed. Took something off it. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 11 ground ball outs the afternoon for Carlos Martinez. Three hits allowed by Martinez here today, and the Cardinals an 8-1 lead. Jeremy Hazelbaker leads it off the second inning of work for Phillies. Gave up a base hit back in the bottom of the 7th. Struck out and grounded out. And the first pitch is a strike. Phillies beat out James Hoyt, who we saw earlier in this game for the final spot opening day roster. Then he threw 107 pitches in relief during the second game of the year and was optioned back to the minor leagues the next day. They are high on this kid. He was part of the Futures All-Star game in 2014. Signed as an international free agent back in May of 2010. Broxton just getting loose but not throwing yet in the pen. We'll see if Martinez goes back out for the bottom of the 8th.
I think it makes perfect sense, Danny, to cut Martinez's day short a little bit.
That pitch right there, that breaking ball, is vastly improved since he was signed by Houston. He's got a big arm. He can hit triple digits. Gets the strikeout, his second. So Hazelbaker is 2 for 4. Here's Greg Garcia. Doug Fister lasted 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs. The starter for the Astros. Then James Hoyt pitched the 5th. Went an inning and a third. Sip came in the 6th with 1 out, 1 on. Gave up 3 runs. And Phillies came in with nobody on, 1 out in the 7th after the 3-run homer by Moss. Garcia lifts a fly ball into shallow center for out number 2. Brings in Colton Wong. Better pay attention sitting there.
They're playing catch.
Inside to Wong, that pitch at 96.
And it would be a left-handed hitter that would shoot one right over that dugout. You don't see too many former players that take their kids and sit that close to the field.
1-1. 1-2. Well, with Broxton throwing, you get the idea that this could be his time in the 8th. As Wong hits it up the middle. Oh, a tricky hop may have been off the bag, and Correa makes a nice play. Cardinals go 1-2-3. 8-1 St. Louis. The glad hand from Jaime Garcia and Adam Wainwright. His afternoon is through. The Cardinals hold on. He improves to 11-7.
I thought he was very good. You don't see, can't pitch much better than he did. Didn't give up his first hit until the 6th inning. Got plenty of run support. Turned over to the bullpen. Broxton was good his last time out. A couple innings. 2-inning appearance in Chicago, but prior to that, you know, he was having his problems. So this is another reason why. Off days tomorrow, another one on Monday. Split a couple innings for your bullpen and get a couple guys back in the right direction.
So Martinez, 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits, 11 ground ball outs. Only 79 pitches for Carlos Martinez to get through 7 innings. Tight game, it might be different.
Yeah, I mean, even if the bullpen were to go and lose this game, which we know they're not going to do so, it's still the right move this late in the season. Young pitcher. Anything over about 80 pitches, you know, you have the likelihood you could hurt your arm. You know, well stretched out.
Good tight slider.
Yeah.
You know, beginning of the season, this was the time you'd see Matt Bowman, maybe Tyler Lyons, and how things have changed over the course of 5 months.
Well, and you say that because Matt Bowman's a Rule 5 guy. You has to stay on your roster the entire season or offered back. And the way he's pitched himself to where you don't waste him in a game like this. Up by 7 runs, he's coming in when you're a run or two ahead, behind. The starter gives you 7 innings. Everything usually falls right in place for your bullpen.
Check swing.
I think the pitch was pretty good.
Agreed.
A little bit off the plate.
2-2.
It's far enough. Astros have what, 9 rookies on their squad right now, with their 32-year-old Cuban star who did have a big game last night at his first game at AAA, and so I'm sure he will be called up in their next homestand.
3-2 pitch. Pulled foul. Big happy birthday to Cardinals fan Scott Rizzuto, celebrating a birthday and watching baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Hernandez with a double. That was the first hit in this game off of Martinez, and he strikes out. That's now combined with Carlos's 8 strikeouts in this lineup for Houston.
Got him to chase a ball out of the strike zone. Like every pitch was out of the strike zone. That's part of the pitching too. Is normally you'd like to get ahead and then have a hitter be overly aggressive and get himself out on pitches out of the strike zone.
Tony Kemp grounded out to short and also fly to center. Catches the corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. Rotation for the weekend will be Adam Wainwright, Luke Weaver, Mike Leake.
Anxious to see Luke Weaver pitch another game.
What'd you think of his first start? 4 innings against the Cubs.
Well, it just looks like he's got great composure. And I was telling you, did a nice interview with Jim Hates, and you could just see the maturity and well thought out answers, and very sensitive to say anything that would be misconstrued. And I think he's got the talent. It just talked about how he's really going to watch Adam Wainwright. There you can see that's a good sign, picking his brain, and that was one of the things the veteran pitchers liked in spring training.
Fly ball lifted to shallow left. Talked to Adam Wainwright the other day, and he mentioned how Chris Carpenter was so influential in his career away from the baseball field, and they played a round of golf. Jason Isringhausen was in the foursome, and Izzy at one point said to Waino, "Are you guys going to even talk to us?" They're in the foursome with him, and he was in the cart with Chris Carpenter, and all they did was talk about the game of baseball and expectations for each other. And Carp learned that from guys like David Wells and Pat Henkin and Roger Clemens in Toronto. That's fouled back.
That's a big part of it. Many times you learn some of the most valuable lessons away from the ballpark, and you kind of relax a little bit. The veteran guy can say, "What were you thinking about that third at bat?" young players say, well, I don't know. And you go, well, that's what obviously the way it looked like. Here's the situation. This is what you should have been concentrating on. You were thinking elsewhere, and you learn about the game. And you also have to learn how to be a big leaguer away from the game. Role model, what's expected of you. Now, not to embarrass yourself or the organization.
The 2-1 pitch. 3-1.
Finish this one for Broxton, 1-2-3, and then maybe it's a good time to get Tuivailala. And then
there's a strike, 3-2.
Springer didn't like the call, but up and in on the corner. We've said almost from the first pitch it's there. Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, and crew chief, has given the high pitch.
It out of play. And a 2-out walk. Extends the inning to Alex Bregman.
Drove in the only run for the Astros today.
With a 2-out RBI base hit to center field. 7th RBI this year. Good slider from Broxton. Cardinals have out hit the Astros 11-3. They've received 2 walks and only 3 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike. Astros just cleaned house. Historically bad. And then got a bunch of top draft choices. Went into the international free agency period. Spent a bunch of money as Bregman breaks his back but gets his 2nd hit. Throw to third, not in time. Runners at the corners. A lot of teams have eyed what Houston did, what Chicago has done, and say, well, maybe that's the blueprint of rebuilding. And also some other teams are saying, is it really fair? Should you be able to just tank like that to get picks?
Watch Hazelbaker here. He kind of got his pocket picked as he did not expect Springer to go from first to third on that ball. Anticipate. There's just enough of delay there, and then he rushed his throw, and it was a little offline. But expect the guy to do so, to run aggressively.
Jose Altuve. Strike 1. Oh, folks could have seen Al on that foul ball.
You were good.
It's embarrassing.
It was. I ran all the way out of the booth. You were standing up trying to protect me. Thank you, Dan.
I'm used to it after
all
all
a day's
these years.
work, right?
And a base hit. Well, you knew you couldn't keep him down for much longer than this. came in 0 for 3. You just expect the guy to get a hit.
75th RBI for Altuve. Another hit. 1,001 in his young career.
A walk and now back-to-back hits.
Just a rocket off his bat.
And with that, now some activity in the Cardinals pen.
Correa has a chance to extend his hitting streak to 12 games. He's 0 for 3.
All three have been groundouts. 2 to short, 1 to second. 2 out, second and third. Strike 1. Sam Tuivailala getting loose. Nothing in 2.
You've seen the top of the strike zone. There we get a strike at the bottom.
Driven out to right, going back and making the play, Stephen Piscotty. Houston strands 2. They've left 5 on, and it's an 8-2 St. Louis lead. The guys and what they were saying, he had 2 3-ball counts, 1 full count all afternoon. Pretty impressive.
So our Chevy called the bullpen. This is Will Harris. He was an all-star this year.
It's strike 2, Piscotty.
Picked up his 12th save on Friday. Remember Giles, who's lost his job as a closer after the early going, and Harris was doing the job there, and then got a chance to pick up that save on Sunday as Giles was out on paternity leave. He posted a club record 26 consecutive scoreless appearances earlier in the year.
He's got that big breaking ball. Saw him pitch in St. Louis when he was on a roll. They'll get Piscotty, Carpenter, and Moss. Just joined us. Big 3-run homer by Brandon Moss back in the 7th inning. Jeremy Hazelbaker with a home run as well. The 48th game in which the Cardinals have had a multi-home run game. Lead the National League in home runs, in the top 3 in all of baseball. Here's a 1-2. Held up. Piscotty bounced into a double play back in the 1st. A single to left field that drove in 2. He's now up to 67 RBIs this year to lead the club. Struck out and doubled and scored on the Moss 3-run homer. And he draws a leadoff walk to start the 9th.
Well, Harris, another LSU product, makes his home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's born in Houston. Boy, I've seen all the rain here, but how about the torrential flooding and problems they've had in Louisiana?
Our thoughts go out to those folks for sure. Carpenter hitless, takes a pitch inside. One ball, one strike. Carpenter struck out on a check swing back in the 1st. He's flied to center. Grounded out to 2nd. Walked and scored. One ball, one strike on the Cardinal DH today. 1-2. Last time we saw the Phillies, they were playing great baseball. They've come back down to earth, though.
You know, it's a matter of time. They just weren't supposed to do anything, but they came out of spring training playing very good baseball, and with the pitching injuries they've had, you kind of your luck runs out.
And a base hit into right off the bat of Carpenter. Piscotty picks up his third base coach Chris Maloney and trots into 3rd. Second time that Matt Carpenter has been aboard. Runners at the corners, and look who's stepping in. Brandon Moss, who is red hot. I would say this though about the Phillies. This late in the season, 8 games below 500, better than I thought.
Yeah, and they played good baseball for Pete Buchanan. You're happy about that. Good baseball man. Remember when they came in Philadelphia early in the season. You know, he was just a little worried that, was hoping that they would play good enough baseball that the fans would get behind them and not abandon them early.
Strike 2.
Played the Cardinals tough, didn't they?
They did. If not for an Adam Wainwright home run, that series may have been a sweep. Wainwright and the Cardinals weren't doing much at that time, and all of a sudden Adam picked up a home run. The Cardinals then, after that, really started to pick it up. Colton Wong got his first home run in that series of the season. First extra base hit.
And it's just like, before the game, talking with Jeff Blum, who does TV over here for the Astros, the former Astro. He was asking me how to make sense out of the home record for the Cardinals. You can't.
No. Swing and a miss and a strikeout of Moss. First down recorded here at the top of the ninth.
Slow, tantalizing breaking ball. Swinging over the top of it. Brings in Yachty, who's had not only a good day at the plate, but good day of handling Martinez. They were really in sync together.
1 out, 2 runners on. Molina with 2 hits today. Serves it into right, slicing foul and out of play. I said to Jeff Blum yesterday, you were the one in extra innings that hit that dramatic home run in the World Series again, and he just stopped me right there. So we can't talk about that in Houston. He won a championship
with the White Sox, right?
With the White Sox. And he did that in 2005. 0-1 pitch. Fought off again and foul ball. 0-2.
There's Jeff.
Good guy.
Had some good years here, and like I said, he was playing for the White Sox after his career with the Astros, and made them the National League champions, not world champions, as the White Sox won that year.
0-2 pitch and swung on and missed. So Molina strikes out, and after Harris walked the first man, then the base hit by Carpenter, back-to-back strikeouts.
And you see that breaking ball, got Moss and now Molina.
Here's Jed Jerko. Walked and scored back in the 6th on a double by Grichuk. First pitch taken for a ball. So odd the way that the schedule plays out here this week for the Cardinals. 2 off days, both coming on the road. Go back home, off day, and then start a 6-game homestand, then back out on the road for 10.
There's where you say, schedule makers, hey, spread those off days out a little bit.
It'll be the last off day at home, and a strike to Jerko. Cardinals only with 2 road trips remaining this season. That's it.
It just seems like most of the time when you have an off day, it's on a travel day. And
so not the true off day.
Exactly.
Jerko lines it to short, and Correa makes the catch. We get to the bottom of the ninth. Cardinals looking for a brief 2-game sweep. Martinez, 7 innings, 3 hits, gave up a run that was earned, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. And he did that in under 80 pitches. He's our Budweiser player of the game. So Sam Tuivailala in to finish this game off. It's our Chevy call to the pen. If the Cardinals hold on, it would be their 4th consecutive win. They would improve to 36-23 on the road. Best road mark in all of baseball. Marwin Gonzalez leads it off. 0 for 2 with a walk. So what does Tuivailala need to do to stick in the big leagues? We know about a powerful fastball, but what else can he do to stick here at this level?
Well, remember when we saw him last year, late in the season, he developed a cutter. And that pitch, all of a sudden you got excited. Converted shortstop, and it would have been a big shortstop. He's got the power fastball, but that cutter was really effective.
Hit sharply to first and under the glove of Brandon Moss. Aaron Moss, his 4th of the year.
Like that ball disappeared on him, didn't it? In a position to backhand it and then disappear.
Here's A.J. Reed, 2 strikeouts and a double into left center. Now Moss with the big lead playing behind, left-handed bat up, and a base hit to the right.
Reed a pair of base hits after striking out the first 2 times looking. And looks like it's pretty much in the middle of the plate. A little bit in. Favoring a left-handed hitter who like to get their natural arc down and in.
So the first 2 have reached. And here is Jason Castro as Bowman starts to throw.
Now let's get a triple play.
Fastball, then a strike at, rather a ball. Inside portion of the plate. Two 2-0 the count. Jason Castro at the plate. He is 0 for 3. Struck out back in the 7th. The 2-0. There's a strike. 2-1. Sam, a real good guy. We've gotten the chance to meet him and be around him a lot. Caravans, the warm-ups, various times that he's been up in the big leagues. You hope he can stick. Figure it out. 2-1 pitch. 3-1. He may be 1 pitch away from being out of this game.
That's kind of interesting too, though. It just looks like pumping fastballs. And one thing we've kind of known is that fastball must be straight the way it gets hit.
And a walk. So an air base hit, now a walk. And here comes Mike Matheny with the bases loaded, nobody out. Points to the bullpen. That means it's Matt Bowman time, and that'll be it for Tuivailala. Chevy called to the pen. Matt Bowman coming on. nobody out. Cardinals leading 8-2 here in the bottom of the ninth. The guys back at the studio in St. Louis updated us on the Washington score. There are the numbers for Bowman. Steven Strasburg, remember, he started 15-1. Lost his last 2 starts. He allowed 10 earned today. Inning and 2/3, 9 earned runs in his start for the Nationals. Gaddis is on deck.
That's no good.
No, sir.
Well, Bowman just continues to get bigger and better assignments as he's become one of those reliable relievers that Mike Matheny can count on.
Houston now has 6 hits in this game. The first hit for the Astros came in the 6th inning off of Carlos Martinez. That was by Hernandez. Gonzalez reached on an air. Reed the base hit. And a walk to Castro.
Bowman gets 61+% ground balls.
Breaking ball and a strike, 1-1.
Tied for 9th in the National League with 6 ground ball double plays. He's only allowed, prior to days, inherited 16 runners. He's only allowed 5 to score.
Here's a 1-1 pitch from Bowman. 1-2. Great sinking action, especially against a right-handed batter.
Yeah, but you really see a lot of movement. That ball just bores in on the right-handed hitters. That's what the Cardinals saw, drafting him out of the Mets in the Rule 5 draft. He was at AAA last year, Las Vegas, but a starter. Cardinals like him as a reliever.
2-2. Swung on and missed as the ball gets away, and Bowman picks up the strikeout.
Now he can pick up the ground ball double play. Never was anywhere near the strike zone. I wonder what he was thinking, right?
2-2 pitch. A big out for Matt Bowman. Here's Gaddis.
Oh, he's got power. 18 on the year in just 90 games.
Strike one.
Gaddis is 0 for his last 8, but he's hit 5 home runs, 11 RBIs his last 21 games.
Two for 7 as a pinch hitter. Gonzalez has been their primary pinch hitter, but you don't see that a lot in the American League with the DH. There's strike 2. 1-2 the count.
Not seeing the ball real well either. He's fooled on a low pitch. Commits.
Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Bowman.
Well, you think he'd be doing it with ground balls, but the 2 strikeouts get him in a position where he can escape the bases loaded jam. You do that in Chicago too. But both of these guys swinging at pitches that are down low, bouncing for strike 3. How about trying to do a little too much?
Now it's George Springer. First pitch swung on and missed. And the Cardinals 2 strikes away from a 2-game sweep here in Houston. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Springer today is grounded out 3 times and walked and scored back in the 8th.
One thing about him, he's a dangerous hitter at a leadoff spot, 23 home runs, but he'll take his walks.
The 1-1. Ground ball, and this should do it. Garcia, force play at second. The Cardinals have won 4 straight. The final 8-2. St. Louis, a Major League best 36-23 on the road. Great work by Bowman. Bases loaded, nobody out. No one scores. 8-2 the final.
Now, like we said, Bowman keeps on getting bigger and better assignments. They really trust him coming out of the bullpen and doing the job. Cardinals did a good job with their 12 hits, a couple home runs again, and a nice convincing start from Martinez, who wins his ball game, is 11th.
On to the